Hello, it's Niles again. So far, we have get ourselves familiar with the tile editor, and we create a map that can work in game. So this video will discuss a cool concept of source 2 that is used many games, including Dota 2, is entity. This small slide will provide you a quick introduction to what is entity is and how is it construct from the ground up. So let's dive right in. Okay, so the first slide, my definition of entity is a game object that have a C++ class attached to perform specific behaviors in game. There's some bold text. It's a game object with a C++ class to perform specific behaviors. Some entities can even affect the map data during map build. For example, tree entities can affect the navigation data during map compilation. There's many type of entities, but two of the most typical ones that you in Dota 2 Workshop tools are point entity, which is a single point in the workspace, and mesh, are also called solid entity. It's a simple mesh that can be tied to an entity class to form an entity. That's it. So let's go to the next slide. Alright, so in here I have created a simple diagram. Let's go with a layer diagram just to show the building blocks that form an entity. So let me grab a pen and we can discuss from the bottom up to see each of the components that create when creating an entity. Basically, the first element is entity is a game object. So it has its own transform when placing in the workspace. Then it got attached to a C++ class. Most of the entities we are seeing will be built in that are written by Valve, and we cannot have control on it. C++ class will expand into properties and metadata. Property is also called as the attributes. Each entity will have its own properties that represent its behaviors. While we have additional information in the metadata, this can be anything. For example, if I have a C++ class named C info demo, then I can have a metadata that can display in Hammer as info underscore demo. That's just for the sake of example. It can be anything. All right. So the third element C++ class defines is the inputs and outputs. NTIO itself is a quite big topic, so I will save it for the later videos. But for easy to understand, you can imagine if we have entity A, for example. Inputs is what define how to fire events of A. Let me write down. Yeah, and outputs is what to do and what to excuse when A got fired. Yeah, so simple as that. All right, so the final blocks is the two user-defined scripts and custom attributes. So here is the two components that we have most control of, and we can modify many things of our behaviors in the entity. So the user-defined script will have two bullet points that can affect or we can implement. The first one is Panorama. It's a Valve front-end framework written in JS. And the second one is the VScript engine. The scripting language is Lua. Two both can somehow affect the entities we are using in the Hammer. But for the rest of the tutorials, we will focus on VScript, as is the main backend scripting language. The custom attribute is just an extension to the properties built in within C++ class. We can use it to expand our logic. Well, I think yeah, that's it for the board. Let's jump to the hammer to see the some inspection of our last entity, custom game events. So we are back at the getting started map. The last time we built on the what I'm gonna do now is let's look at the entity Dota custom game events we create last time using the entity tool. Now I'm gonna double click on it to open. So you can see there's many windows panel here. Let's focus on the class and Dota custom game events. This is the basically the entity name for the entity class name for the class. You can open the drop down menu and there's a bunch of others entity as well. To change it, just click on it to select it. Down here we have a transform. This indicated it a game object, as we have seen the slides. And down here we have many fields that got exposed by the CVP class. You can see that there's kind of different color here. Is because we have set it to different than the default. You can have many entity like this. Each one will have different behaviors based on the field like this. For example, if the custom game event we are setting here, then it will mostly affect the game rules of the game, and other entity will affect differently based on the class we given to it. So if you expand the list here, there's the entity scripts. Here we can put our custom script and modify the behavior as we need. But for now, I will leave it blank for later session. On the top, you can have the add key here. This will allow you to create a custom key to be used within your code. One notice, one small notes here is that in the type, there's string, integer, and float. Mostly, I would use integer and float since somehow string is not working in Dota 2 Workshop 2. So ignore it and just refer to this if you need anything. So yeah, that's a quick inspect for the custom game events. On the next video, I will try to create some of the point entity and mess around with the mesh entity. So see you in the next video.